Josh here today, and I'm going to be doing some work on the SeaRat, one of the ugliest stand-ups that is also super freaking fast. Now, we haven't had this thing out since, it was last year since we had this thing on the water, and basically it was having some problems with the exhaust system coming apart. So I'm going to attempt to address that here today. If you're not familiar with this build, it is an 1100 triple Kawasaki engine swap into a Kawasaki 650 SX stand-up jet ski. And one of the oddities about it is the custom tubbies, which give it an unusual riding characteristic. And also the massive engine gives it a unique riding characteristic as well. It basically feels like it wants to kill you at all times. But since I'm working on a stand-up jet ski today, I felt like I could bust out my vintagejetski.com t-shirt, which I usually don't get to wear, but I think it's pretty cool. Let's see if we can get a shot of the back. Can you see it? Anyways, the issues with the exhaust. So before it had this resonator, which apparently doesn't really do anything to quiet it down. The problem with it is that it's too short. It needs to be about an inch longer to reach from that hose to that hose. And so what would happen is when you would get on it, it would eventually just blow the connection apart, then fill the hull up with water. This engine was very pristine at one point, but last year when we ran it with the cooling system not set up correctly, it got a little bit cooked. So that was an interesting experience. If you haven't seen that video, I would say definitely check it out. Also, I would recommend the drag racing videos with the SeaRat. Watch it punish all of the other stand-up jet skis and super jets. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. It's a little bit difficult to get in and out, and since it doesn't really do anything to quiet down the ski, there's no point in having it in the ski. Now I'm going to be just replacing it with a section of pipe, and it also needs to have a little bit of a bend on the end so that it can connect the two hoses easily. So I'm going to end up cutting this a little bit, doing some welding on it to make the exact piece that I need. Got the piece all fabricated up, and since the welds will rust, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of paint on there. Alright, I'm putting a little bit of a bead on the exhaust so that when you clamp the hose on, there's something there to hold it together. Now, I don't have the fancy tools for doing this, so this is just a tool that I have laying around from doing some construction projects on my house. And I've obviously modified it so that I can do this do you even call this, like a bead? I guess normally you'd use a bead roller for this. I'm not sure. Anyway, someday we'll have all the fancy tools, but right now we're just making do with what we got. Don't have the money to buy all the tools, and we're doing this for fun. This is a hobby. We're not a professional shop, so you can't get too mad at us because we're not working on your ski, charging you way too much, do something that it didn't need, and having all the special tools to do it. I think that should work pretty well. So now I just got to install this piece into the ski. Alright, got my little pipe installed from here all the way over to there. Kind of hard to see it, but there it is installed. Now I'm just going to put the carbs on, and then I got to reassemble the e-box. And I'm going to clean up a couple of these wires, and I might clean up these spark plugs and stuff. And I'm thinking because these plugs are rusty that they might be knockoffs. I don't know, it's really annoying that we have to deal with knockoff NGK spark plugs, but that is the world that we live in. I'm wearing different clothes because it is the next day. I found some electrical issues, and I found that the fuses weren't making good contact in the fuse receptacles, or whatever you want to call this thing. So I had to clean those up. What else did I find? The ground cable had broken, so I had a bad ground as well. And for our final thing, I hope, is that the connection that is for coming from the starter button from the start stop switch, the connection came apart in here in the e-box. So now I just got to get that sorted, and hopefully we'll be ready to start it up. Some of you have requested more of a real world feel where things fail more often and we show you more of the fails. In this particular instance, I guess that's what we're going to be doing because I can't get it started. The starter doesn't turn, so basically I either have to take the exhaust off to get to the starter, or I have to take the engine out to get to the starter, and I'm trying to decide which one of those is easier. So I'm going to be working on that here for the rest of today, but I do got to go upload this video. So I guess I should say thanks for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next video.